Next Level Mindset bringing you another powerful and positive video. Let's talk about the challenges of positive thinking. I'm going to share my insights on that. And if you stay with me all the way through till the end, I've got an extra bonus insight and power lessons to change your life. You do not want to miss this. Let me know in the comments which one of these stands out the most for you. So the first challenge to positive thinking is sometimes the mind will want to do its own thing. Sometimes you have positive thoughts going on and sometimes they can get disrupted, changed up. Even in my own life, I have to find myself only accepting those thoughts that are uplifting, encouraging, and refusing to accept anything that doesn't line up with divinity. A lot of people don't really think about it until they're right there in the process of going through it. It's a challenge of positive thinking. At certain times, the thoughts are right there where I want them to be, but then there's other times where dark territory tries to come in. The mind wants to roam into dark territory, and it's at those times that I have to remind myself. That my goal, my desire is to stay in the positive zone. So I want to inspire you. I don't want to encourage you to remind yourself of that time when you find yourself drifting into those negative zones, which we all go through. You can bring it back to the positive. And as we go through this, keep in mind there are two main parts of the brain. Science tells us that there's two main parts of our mind. And the first part is what we call the conscious mind, the mind we use every day, talking and doing different things, thinking about our plans for the day. That's the conscious mind, thinking about doing the everyday things. And the second part of the mind is what we call the subconscious mind. We'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit. But this is where that power takes place. The subconscious mind is more powerful than most people think. And so when we think about thinking positive, one of those challenges that you're going to face is finding yourself running through the mind, finding yourself thinking about things that you know are not lining up with your higher living. Some of you watching this right now, you're probably just coming out of a pandemic, just coming out of different circumstances. We got so many things going on in the world, and there are times when it's just not easy to stay on the positive flow. So I want to inspire you. Think about that. Don't let your mind go too far into that negative zone where you can't pull it back. We all have a choice, and we can choose to think on the positive, choose to think positive things that will line up with a higher level of living in our lives. Keep that in mind as you begin to think positive. There are times when negative thoughts are going to come, but we can always choose to think on purpose, with purpose, on the positive. And the second challenge that comes with positive thinking is sometimes our thoughts will contradict or be in competition with the surrounding environment. Even in my own life, one of my affirmations says, I am a strong, intelligent, powerful, and positive individual. But every now and then, something will come up which will not be so positive. Affirmations, some of those things contradicts what's around us. That's just one of the challenges of positive thinking. So what I've learned to do along my journey is just to keep in mind, even though the surrounding environment, even though the surrounding conditions may not necessarily line up, there's a time frame involved. And when it comes to positive thinking, the challenges of thinking on the positive level, two main things to keep in mind. And the first one is that we're always shaping our circumstances with our thoughts. The thoughts that we choose to dwell on, we're always shaping our circumstances. And the second thing to keep in mind is that certain things just take time to show up in reality. Not everything is going to line up right away. Certain things take a little longer than other things. When you are choosing to think positive, improving your life, these challenges can come. And even though they may come at times, we can remind ourselves that certain things just take time. Even in the Bible, it talks about how as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a lady thinketh, so is she. As we think, we become. Even in ancient scripture, it talks about different ways of our minds. And it's interesting. Did you know that there are certain schools of thought that said there are times when we just need to sit back and allow our minds to do its own thing, to kind of let those thoughts kind of jump around? So for me, I found out that there is a balance that has to take place. We have to balance it out. And I'm learning more and more not to allow myself to begin to get discouraged when those thoughts seem to contradict what I know is right for me. There's even a scripture that talks about, let this mind be in you, which was also in God, the great spirit of God within us, that great I am. We're inspired, encouraged to let our minds dwell on the thoughts of God. There's another scripture that says, whatever things are right, whatever things are of worthy praise, think on these things. I like that because that reminds me that I can always choose to think on a higher level. Every day you go through life, remind yourself you can always choose those higher thoughts. So one of the things that I've learned to do in my life along my journey is that even though those contradictions may come, I've learned to dwell on the things of God and only think the thoughts of divinity, thinking on the next level. And if you're part of the family, you already know that's how we like to do it to get it done. We want to go to the next level in everything that we do. And by the way, if this is your first time here or you've been here and you just haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, make it official. We'd love to have you here at Next Level. And the third challenge of thinking positive is surrounding ourselves with those who are also on that positive level. Now this one is sometimes difficult because especially if you're on a job, maybe you're working at a company, sometimes it's hard to surround yourself with those who are positive if you have to work with them, right? There are times just like that we're not always able to choose those who are going to be around us. I ask myself, how can I think positive when around others? And there are two main things I want you to remind yourself of. One, I can create win-win situations. One of my affirmations says, I create win-win situations for everyone around me. As I help others to win, I win as well. So I can keep that in mind as I begin to think about being around other people, surrounding myself with other people who may not be on that same positive level. And the second thing that I could do, I could always choose to understand. Never really know what people are going through. You just never really know the challenges that other people are facing, the pains that they may have gone through, the difficulties, the hurts that they have gone through. I can always choose to understand those who are around me. They are exactly where they need to be at this particular time. Choose to understand what they're going through. That's just another challenge of thinking positive, just a challenge of positive thinking. Did you know that if two people are in the same room, the one who has a higher level of self-command, the one who is always thinking positive, the one who has a higher level of self-control, they're going to control the energy of that room. You can control the energy of that room just by your energy. Being on a positive level, you can command the atmosphere just with your positive mindset. I remember when I first got my first apartment, when I used to be homeless and I first got my first apartment, I wasn't ready for it and I ended up losing it. But I decided to say, I said to myself, that's just a lesson that I can learn in life. I learned from that and I can move on. One of my affirmations said that we win some and we learn some, but we never lose as long as we're learning. I use all setbacks as a stepping stone. I use what appears to be failure and learn what doesn't work and what does. So I've learned to not beat myself up about it. That's just a part of life. But there are times when you're going to be surrounded by others who may not be on that level. There are times when we can choose those around us, and there are other times when we really don't have that control. As we surround ourselves with those who are on a positive level, you can empower them, they can empower you. Maybe this video is empowering you, and your being a part of my community can also empower me. That's what thinking positive is really all about. I've got an extra bonus insight that I want to share with you. But first, before we do that, if you are enjoying the content on my channel, you can always return the blessing with a super thanks, cash app donation, buy a coffee, take my books home with you, as well as other ways you can support the channel with the links in the description. Appreciate it. So the first PowerPoint that I want to share with you has to do with that subconscious mind. We talked about that earlier. Science has shown us that the subconscious mind really doesn't know the difference between what's going on in the real world and in the mental world, in our lives. That's why affirmations work. That's why positive thinking really works. That's why we don't have to worry about those contradictions we talked about earlier, right? The subconscious mind really can't tell the difference. And it begins to bring things into our lives to manifest the reality that we speak on. I like that Bible verse that says life and death is in the power of our tongue. Everything that we speak in our lives has an impact on our lives. And another thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to our thoughts are so powerful that they can have an impact on our mental health, our environment, our emotional states, our whole physiology can be affected. And there's always someone in your life, someone surrounding you that can influence you on a positive level. You can be influencing someone with your life. So I want to encourage you, whatever you're doing in your life, always know that you have a positive impact for somebody else. Tony Robbins is one of the guys that really influenced my early life with affirmations and thinking positive, changing the paradigm to a new level. In fact, check out this video right here, 3 power lessons I learned from Tony Robbins. I think that would be a great video for you to watch next. Check that out and enjoy it. Thank you to my subscribers and returning viewers. I really appreciate you. Hit the like button and share this on your way out. Stay blessed, stay positive, subscribe if you haven't done so. Remember, there's nothing that needs to be done that together we cannot do. I'll see you on the next level. Peace.